Guys, take a look at this beautiful, delicious quesadilla. Now, I'm going to teach you how to make quesadillas and some of the wonderful things that you can put inside of them. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make. Let's get on with it. Guys, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making quesadillas. Now, quesadillas are delicious, and the best part about making quesadillas, this is simple. It's simple, it's quick, it's easy, it's not hard to do, guys. So I want to teach you the ins and outs of making quesadillas and some of the stuff that you can use for ingredients and options for ingredients. So I'll tell you what, come over this way. Let's go over these fantastic goodies that I have to make quesadillas, and let's get on with this. Come on over. Basically, a quesadilla is just a tortilla sandwich, okay, that's done with cheese. There's basically two ingredients that are common to all quesadillas, and that would be the flour tortilla and the cheese, okay? So that just is sort of universal. Now, as far as what kind of cheese to use, that's pretty much your choice. If you want a good Mexican cheese, I would recommend Oaxaca, and that's Oaxaca. That's how you spell that. It's the southern tip of Mexico, guys. That's the region down there. It's called the Oaxaca. Anyway, that's where that cheese comes from. Now, I have here some pepper jack. I have some chicken that I cooked up the other day, and this was just yesterday, for making tacos, and I shot a show on making tacos, and this is that marinated chicken. You can use... And this is a wonderful dish for recycling, guys. You can use leftovers in this, and it works fantastic. So I've got some leftover chicken here I'm going to use. If you've got leftover beef or pork or whatever, you can put it in there. You can put in shrimp. You can put scallops in a quesadilla if you want. Anything you want. I've got some cheddar cheese here. Also, these are pickled jalapeno. If you want, you can use fresh jalapeno or just green chilies. Open up a can of green chilies and try that on your quesadilla. That's delicious. On some sauces to dip, I would recommend things like guacamole. That's a really good one. Also some sour cream. I have here a chipotle sauce, some red hot sauce, green hot sauce. All kinds of things that you can dip that wonderful little pie that we're going to make right down into. So call it a pie, a sandwich, or whatever. We're going to be making quesadillas right now. Let's get on with it. There is a couple of other little items I do want to mention. When it comes to your flour tortillas, try to go with something that's sensible in its size, about the size of a small plate, or a little bit smaller than that. If you get the big ones that are made for burritos, it gets really difficult to handle them. Plus, you have to have a pan big enough to cook it in, and a lot of people don't have skillets that large. So something a little bit more sensible works good, and I like buying local tortillas. They're slightly thicker, they're a little bit softer, they're tastier, and much better than the mass manufactured ones. They're a little odd in their shape, but guess what? That's what you get when you get real. Other ingredients that you can put in these, think about this, guys. Like I mentioned, beef, pork, and all that other stuff, but vegetables. You can put in anything that's not too wet as a vegetable. Now, for instance, if you put squash in there, squash is really wet, and it's going to be dripping everywhere. It's going to be a mess, okay? But you can easily put things such as corn or beans or, let's see here, wonderful goodies, mushrooms. Mushrooms are commonly used in quesadillas. Tomatoes, again, a bit juicy. Occasionally I see them, but they're a bit too juicy for it. Chilies are not. The jalapeno I'm using here, even though that was pickled, it's not going to be too juicy for this. It'll put out a little bit, but it won't be too bad. And if you want, I could even pat those dry. You could. I'm not going to bother because I've done this enough to know how it comes out. So we have our pan ready right down here. Let's put our quesadilla, now if you'll, or the tortilla. If you'll notice, most tortillas come with one side toasted slightly more than the other. Put that side that's toasted more on the inside. We're going to go with the lightly cooked side on the outside. And to start with, I'm going to go with this one that's a little less irregular shaped. and I'll put the irregular shaped one on top. That way when I flip it, it'll just be weird, okay? Now, cheese. Let's start with some cheese. If you're going to make a quesadilla, you need some cheese. And like I said, that seems to be the one universal item to quesadillas, is that cheese when it comes to a filling. The other universal item is that tortilla. You don't have to be perfect or pretty about this, and yeah, some of that cheese is very likely going to come coming out the edge when you're cooking this. Guess what? When you're heating a cheese sandwich like this, that just happens, okay? So get over it. Next item I want to put on there are some of these jalapenos. Get them right down in there, yeah. Now, I like mine spicy hot, which is why I don't mind going jalapenos. If you don't like yours spicy, you might want to leave those out. Those pickled ones are really, really, really hot. And the reason is when it comes to pickling a jalapeno, the capsaicin, which the majority of surrounds the seeds and the membrane that attaches them to the core and to the core itself, that capsaicin washes out into the meat in the outside part of the jalapeno, in the outside part of that chili, and that makes the outside part hot like the inside is. So when you pickle a jalapeno, essentially you've actually made that a little bit hotter than it would have been had you been cutting out the core and just dicing up jalapenos. All right, we have that chicken. Get it down in there. Don't worry about what hits the pan, because you can pick it up and put it right up on that. Okay. There we have it. Now, I did this a certain way, and I did it a certain way on purpose. I wanted you to learn how to make this the easy way. If you're new to cooking or you're not so good at cooking, we started this without there being any heat in this pan. And if you'll do it this way, it gives you more time to dress it up. Okay, now I can turn on the heat. I don't have anything in the pan that acts to prevent sticking. And frankly, I don't need anything in the pan that acts to prevent sticking. What I'm looking to do at this point is to heat the cheese and that bottom until the lower tortilla and that is toasted and the cheese is starting to melt. Put that on top, and I want to lower my heat to a medium heat. On this, we are not in a rush. If you get in a rush on this, guys, you're going to end up with a bunch of loose ingredients on the inside, cheese that hasn't melted, and burned tortillas. So lower it to medium, slow down, take your time, and get this done right. You're going to need something to turn that in a little bit, so get you a spatula ready. You're also going to need a surface to cut this on once it's finished cooking. So we're going to put a cutting board up here just to cut that on when we're finished. Occasionally, just look underneath. You'll be able to see if the cheese is melting. You'll see if it's toasting properly. I'm starting to get a little odor off of it. It's only been a couple of minutes now. It's starting to melt the cheese. See there? It's starting to melt around the edges, but it's still not totally melted in the middle. I'm going to look underneath, see what color it is. Okay, it is about a light to medium golden brown. I'm going to let it toast for just a moment more, and then I'm going to flip it over. And the neat thing is once we flip it, and you've got to be careful doing this, once you turn it over, it allows that cheese to flow down into all of those other ingredients. And then thus, our quesadilla is born. Okay, watch what I do here. I lift it up first, flip it quickly, drop it back down. If you notice, I kept a hand on top when I did that to keep everything in place. Now, what came out right over here, right there, and there, those are little samples for the chef to enjoy. Okay, so we'll just give it some time. We'll let the other side toast, get it about the same color as this, and it's finished. We'll just slice it up and it's ready to go. Okay, I have good color on the bottom, which is now my top. I'm going to give this just a moment, and I'm going to cut it. Now the reason I don't cut it immediately is to allow that cheese to firm up just slightly so it doesn't just immediately flow everywhere, okay? Here we have it. One quesadilla. There. Our quesadillas are ready. Now guys, by any standard, that's some pretty easy thing to make, okay? There we have it. That's all done. Delicious and easy. There it is, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful quesadillas. Isn't that simple? Isn't that easy? Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful dish. Let me get my hand out of the way there. This is so easy to make. It's so delicious. And it's something that if you haven't ever experimented with making these, whether you're a good cook or a bad, you need to try it. It is so good. I'm going to get into these dipping sauces. I'm just going nuts on this in a minute. That is so good. It's amazing how such a simple dish, so easy to make, can be so scrumptious. Tell you what, guys, give this a try. You're going to love it. I would like to thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today. I would like to thank my subscribers. Guys, I appreciate it more than you can imagine. And if you haven't subscribed, well gosh, please do. Click the bell next to it so I can let you know when I have new recipes coming out. And I'll tell you what, you're going to get good recipes and best techniques all of the time right here on Texas Cooking Today. Thank you very much. You folks have a good day. Bye.